The human health and diseases. Human health and diseases. Let's move into the chapter. Here, the topics to be discussed: the common infectious diseases in man, like bacterial, viral, protozoan, helminth, and fungal diseases, and immunity and immune system. We are going to discuss AIDS, the transmission and life cycle of HIV, prevention, the cancer, types of cancers and the causes, reasons for the cancer, diagnosis, how to do, then treatment that we discuss in the cancer biology, and drugs and their types of effects we have to discuss, and smoking effect and health problems will be raised due to smoking, alcohol abuse, types and effects, and anabolic steroid abuse, the types of steroids and their effects we have to discuss, and adolescents and drugs. This is a chapter that human health and disease. So let's move on one after another. So first of all, we need to define ourselves that what is health? What is health? Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. Not only the physical health, we can say the person is having health, but his health is a physical, mental, and social well-being. That we need to understand that here, if you think positively, that a bigger disease even you can cure. If that positive thinking is not there, if the person is having the negative thinking, that a smaller parasite even can kill the human being, and having the social that behavior is also considered as health, and eat healthy and keep your mind active and learn the new things, and the practice the different kinds of issues that we say exercises, all this we can say as the definition for health. So health is affected by various issues like genetic disorders like hemophilia, color blindness, DMD, that various genetic disorders are there, and various kinds of infections which are caused by protozoan, helminth, and the bacterial, viral, fungal infections we have, and change in the lifestyle. The food, water, rest, exercise, habits are also going to affect the health. So the common infections, the diseases which come to the human being, very common, that we have to discuss the common infectious diseases in man. In that, the first we'll go with the bacterial diseases. In the bacterial diseases, as I said to you, that any parasite, that is bacterial or viral or fungal, the major things you have to remember: the pathogen it causes, and how it transmits from one human to the another human being, and the symptoms, and the treatment are the tests that we have to focus on. That means, as like a biodata, you have to fix the notes based on the NCRT textbook itself again. That biodata, of total biodata of the parasite is not required. Whatever there in NCRT, that we require. Okay, so now moving on with the typhoid. Pathogen for the typhoid is Salmonella typhi. The bacteria which cause the typhoid is Salmonella typhi. How will it come? Mode of transmission. So through the food, contaminated food and water makes this particular parasite that will enter into the small intestine, and the blood and other organs are also going to be affected for this mode of transmission is the contaminated food and water. Okay, the symptoms: sustained high fever. So based on the symptoms, also there is a possibility of the question. Then sustained high fever, 39 to 40 degrees centigrade, weakness, stomach pain, constipation, headache, and loss of appetite, intestinal perforation, and even finally the death even may occur. Okay, and that very popular test for the typhoid is Vidal test. Vidal test is a regular question even. So Vidal test is used to recognize, diagnose that typhoid bacteria. So Salmonella typhi, mode of transmission contamination. The symptoms include sustained high fever and weakness, stomach pain, constipation, headache, and loss of appetite, intestinal perforation, which leads to the death even. So Vidal test to be remembered. So next, the second one, pneumonia. The parasite, the bacteria which cause the pneumonia is Streptococcus pneumoniae and Haemophilus influenza. Streptococcus pneumoniae and Haemophilus influenza. So mode of transmission here. Mode of transmission, inhaling droplets or aerosols. Earlier in typhoid, we said contaminated food and water. Now, inhaling droplets in aerosols released by an infected person. So sharing glasses and utensils with an infected person. Okay, so then the symptoms, the fluid-filled lung alveoli, fluid-filled lung alveoli leading to the respiratory problems, fever, chills, cough, headache are going to be the symptoms. In severe cases, that lips and fingernails turn gray to bluish color. Do remember, this chapter is very, very important in NEET examination point of view. The way I'm doing underline, I have to underline every line that because every line is already a question before in the previous examination. So that to be remembered over. That we don't need the huge data. We want only the data from NCRT textbook about that particular disease. Okay. So to be remembered in pneumonia, that pathogen is Streptococcus pneumoniae and Haemophilus influenza. Inhaling droplets or aerosols and sharing glasses utensils with infected person makes the transmission of the disease from one person to the patient to the that healthy man. Then symptoms: the fluid-filled lung alveoli, which leads to the respiratory problems, fever, chills, cough, headache, and severe cases, lips and fingernails turn gray to bluish color. Streptococcus pneumoniae to be remembered. So those are the bacterial diseases, typhoid and pneumonia we are seeing. Now moving on to the viral diseases. The common cold. Common cold, the pathogen which causes the common cold is rhinoviruses. Rhino group of viruses. So how will it transmit is a well-known thing here. Inhaling droplets resulting from cough or sneezes and through the contaminated objects and infects nose and respiratory tract. Do remember, common cold does not affect lungs. It infects nose and the respiratory tract only, not towards the lungs it reach. Okay, then symptoms, nasal congestion and discharge, cough, sore throat, hoarseness, fever, headache, tiredness. In generally, that it lasts for 3 to 7 days. We know this. We face this, and this is a season even. And 3 to 7 days will find over. Okay, there is a common saying that if you treat, it will be for 7 days. If you don't treat, even it will be 7 days. That means here the rhinovirus is a very very common disease, and it is said to be there is no person in the world that at least once affected with a cold, isn't it? So that is common cold, rhinoviruses. Next, moving on to the protozoan diseases. The first is malaria. Malaria is generally caused by the pathogens we call Plasmodium species, like Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malariae, and Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium ovale. These are the Plasmodium parasites who are going to cause the malaria. And you can see on the screen the sporozoid stages of Plasmodium vivax and the bloodstream, which they are swimming. They use it to swim half an hour in the blood and moves to the that liver to perform the liver stage. Okay, we'll look forward, but let us see here. How will it transmit? Female Anopheles mosquito biting by the mosquito bite, female Anopheles mosquito. Then the symptoms include hemojoin granules, which are released after the erythrocytic Shiguguni of Plasmodium. The hemojoin granules causes a chill and high fever. The recurring is every 3 to 4 days, every third day. We call it as benign tertian, malignant tertian. What is the meaning of tertian? Tertian means that third day, every third day. Erythrocytic cycle takes only 2 days. So every after the completion of every erythrocytic cycle, they are going to release the hemojoin granules, and that hemojoin granules are going to cause the malaria. We call bouts of fever, which include 3 stages: cold stage, hot stage, and sweat stage. Let's take a look on that. You see that life cycle of Plasmodium vivax in both human and mosquito. So we should start. It's a life cycle. Cycle when we say that we have to check forward. That means cycle means it always will go on like this. So we should start somewhere else, isn't it? Let us start somewhere else. So we'll start from here, from the salivary glands of mosquito. So from the salivary glands of mosquito. In the salivary glands of mosquito, whatever the sporozoite stages are present, whatever the sporozoite stages which are present in the salivary glands of mosquito, by the mosquito bite, then they release into the human being. Because at the time when mosquito bites the human being, they must release saliva. Why? Because in the saliva of mosquito, there is an enzyme called hemolysin, which prevent the clotting of blood of human being. At the time when they are sucking the blood, they need to they need to release the saliva, which contain hemolysin, to prevent the clotting of blood. So okay, so at the time the sporozoite stages enters into the human being, they swim half an hour in the blood, and after that they enters into the liver to perform liver shaijuguni, a sexual multiplication method of plasmodium. We can say in human being, we can say liver shaijuguni that occurs in the liver. That's why we call shaijuguni, liver shaijuguni. Okay. So in the liver shaijuguni, there are two phases can be seen over: pre-erythrocytic shaijuguni and exoerythrocytic shaijuguni. Liver shaijuguni include that two stages: pre-erythrocytic and exoerythrocytic. Let's take a brief of these. The liver shaijuguni, which include the first phase, pre-erythrocytic shaijuguni. Pre-erythrocytic shaijuguni. So I am going to the whiteboard to explain this particular procedure. So we'll take a brief look of this particular area. So what we said, by the mosquito bite, the Plasmodium parasite enters into the human being and they swim half an hour in the blade, and then after that go for enters in the liver and they perform the multiplication, multiple fission we can call liver shaijuguni. And the liver shaijuguni include the two phases. What are they? Pre-erythrocytic shaijuguni. The first one, pre-erythrocytic shaijuguni. So I am showing with small the visuals. I'll explain this particular procedure in brief. Let's go through the pre-erythrocytic shaijuguni. So the sporozoite stages which enters into the liver cell, sporozoite stages which enters into the liver cell, they becomes round, we call trophozoite. The feeds and grows called Shayjant. Shayjant will go for asexual multiplication and result the formation of many cryptozoites or first generation merozoites. These cryptozoites or first generation merozoites are get liberated by the rupture of liver cell and they liberated into the liver sinusoids. Okay, so you should remember these two. Who enters into the liver cell? Sporozoites enters into the liver cell. Okay, then what it result? What it result? It results the formation of multiple fission, which result the formation of cryptozoites or first generation merozoites. We use it to say cryptozoites or first generation merozoites. These cryptozoites or first generation merozoites are having two possibilities. They may enter into the RBC to start the erythrocytic shaijugani, or they may enter into the fresh liver cells to continue the liver shaijugani we call exoerythrocytic shaijugani. Okay, so exoerythrocytic shaijugani, let us watch how will it. So these cryptozoites are first generation merozoites which enters into the liver cell, then they becomes round, we call trophozoite, and trophozoite feeds and grows, we say Shaijant. Shaijant undergo asexual multiplication, we say Shaijaguni. Just nucleus ruptures for so many times, followed by cytoplasmic divisions, result the formation of the second generation merozoites are of two types: micro metacryptozoites and macro metacryptozoites. So these some of them smaller in size, some of them larger in size, that we just named it like that: micro metacryptozoites and macro metacryptozoites. So these micro meta cryptozoites who are smaller in size, more in number, enters into the RBC to continue to start erythrocytic Shijiguni. What about that macro meta cryptozoite? They go into the fresh liver cells. They go into the fresh liver cells to continue the exoerythrocytic Shijiguni. Okay. So what to be remembered here? The second generation merozoites are released after exoerythrocytic Shijiguni. Second generation merozoites are getting liberated. Okay. Next, where they go? They go and start erythrocytic Shijiguni in human beings. Erythrocytic Shijiguni. So erythrocytic Shijiguni, that means a sexual multiplication method of plasmodium in the human being, which comes after, which occurs in the RBC, then by the entry of first generation merozoites, or by the entry of first generation merozoites, or by the entry of micrometa cryptozoites of the second generation. Okay, so let me draw the RBC first, then after we'll look forward. So, first generation merozoites or cryptozoites enters into the RBC. They becomes round, called as trophozoite. Trophozoite contain a nucleus and a vacuole. Then trophozoite feeds and grows, and that vacuole develops and pushes the nucleus on one side. As usual, trophozoite is a feeding stage, no doubt about that. But before that, some activities are going to happen, like that vacuole develops and pushes the nucleus on one side, and the appearance look like the finger ring. We call it as wedding ring or signet ring stage. And vacuole disappear the stage, trophozoite stage from pseudopodia. We say amoeboid stage. In the amoeboid stage, it feeds the contents of the hemoglobin and eats and grows larger in size. We say this is late trophozoite amoeboid stage and develops into Shayjant. Okay. So that Shayjant stage undergo asexual multiplication, which results the formation of many merozoites. 12 to 24 merozoites are getting formed here. And these merozoites are released after the rupture of RBC. Rupture of RBC, they get released out. Okay. So then they enter again into the again they enter into the new fresh RBC. They become trophozoite. Again the same. They become trophozoite, which contain a nucleus and a vacuole. Nucleus and vacuole is formed, and vacuole develops and pushes the nucleus on one side. We say it has the stage of trophozoite is called signet ring stage, and vacuole disappear. The stage forms pseudopodia. We say it has amoeboid stage, and it feeds and grows. We call Shayjant stage. Shayjant undergo asexual multiplication called Shayjagoni, and Shayjagoni results the formation of merozoites, and these merozoites enters into the RBC. Here itself, we have to see how the disease malaria comes. We said amoeboid stage eats the hemoglobin, isn't it? In that the globin is going to be digested, no problem. But heme is turned into hematin or hemozoin granules. Heme is turned into hemozoin granules, and that hemozoin granules are going to be released out by the rupture of RBC. Along as cycle is going on, that for every 2 days, because erythrocytic stage is going to takes 2 days time. So these hemozoin granules are released. That means the person get affected with malaria. So that cause three stages like cold stage, hot stage, and sweat stage. So you should remember at this particular stage, the person is going to get malaria. Okay. So after all the completion of many erythrocytic cycle, some of the stages of these merozoites are going to become micrometacryptozoites and macrometacryptozoites. Okay, so we call that stages micrometacryptozoites or smaller in size and the larger nucleus macrometacryptozoites. So these particular stages are observed in the blood when they are passing through the bone marrow and spleen, when the blood is passing through the bone marrow and spleen, two stages, micrometa. This cycle is going on. Along with that, these two stages are getting formed here. They are getting ready themselves to reach to the mosquito. Okay. So these micrometa, when the mosquito bites the patient, all the stages enters into the mosquito, but only stages which survive in the mosquitoes, the crop, in the lumen of crop of mosquito or stomach, we usually say, only stages which survive are two. What are they? Microgametocyte and macrogametocyte. So in the lumen of crop of mosquito, the microgametocytes and the macrogametocytes starts division. These are gametocytes, we can say. So these gametocytes will develop into microgametocyte, undergo the nuclear division. Three times it undergo the nuclear division, and followed by the cytoplasmic division that result the formation of 8 flagella like gametes are getting formed over. These 8 flagella like gametes are going to be released in a process called exflagellation, and microgametes are ready. No division occurs in the macrogamete actually. Just what happens, the nucleus moves on one side, and there the reception cone or fertilization cone is formed through which the microgamete is going to enter into inside, and this is called sexual reproduction, because you see the fertilization occurs in the female Anopheles mosquito, in the lumen of crop of mosquito. So that result the formation of zygote. Within 18 to 24 hours, this zygote will become active, motile, and form a stage called ookinete. So this ookinete, with the help of penetration glands, penetrates into the wall of mosquito, and there it forms a cystic wall surround. We can say that particular cystic wall surround as oocyst stage. So oocyst stage further divides, and that first it undergo meiosis, then followed by many mitotic division, results the formation of many sporoblast cells. Many sporoblast cells are getting formed here, and these sporoblast cells are again divide and form a sporozoite. Okay, sporozoite. I know I'm going speed here because we just want only the events what happened. Okay, so sporozoites are getting formed here. These are all the sporozoites, and these particular sporozoites, which are released from the cystic wall, will go into the hemocoel. These sporozoites enters into the body cavity of mosquito. From there, they reaches to the salivary glands. So we just reached to the stage where we moved on. The salivary glands of mosquito. So from the salivary glands of mosquito, when mosquito bite occurs, they get enter into the human blood, and start a sexual reproduction, liver shejuguni and erythrocytic shejuguni. Then from the human being, they reaches into the mosquito to perform the sexual reproduction. So this is a life cycle, we can say. This is a life cycle. Just explain in brief that life cycle of plasmodium in mosquito and human being. So that's it. Now let's take a look on this. Here the major events are shown on the text like this. The mosquito bites another human being. From here we have to start. When mosquito bites a human being, the sporozoites are injected. The parasite reaches to the liver through blood, and there they perform asexual reproduction in the liver cell, bursting the cells released into the blood. Here we said the two stages: liver shejugani, pre-erythrocytic and ex-erythrocytic. Okay. So then after asexual reproduction in RBC, erythrocytic shejugani, we say the bursting RBC release a toxin hemojoin granules. Okay, so these particular hemojoin granules are going to cause the fever, erythrocytic cycle. So from there, the gametocytes are formed. They enter into the mosquito. That by when mosquito bites the patient. So these particular gametocytes from the human patient to the female mosquito, they reaches, and there they undergo fertilization and development, in mosquitoes intestine or stomach or crop, exact word crop. Okay, so that most frequently there are different words you can see. So fertilization and followed by the development, again they form the sporozoites. It was explained in brief. So that is the life cycle of Plasmodium in mosquito. Okay. So the diseases you have to remember, diseases also you have to remember. Plasmodium vivax. Plasmodium vivax is a parasite which cause, let me take a red color, that visibility. So Plasmodium vivax. The disease caused by the Plasmodium vivax is benign tertian malaria. Benign tertian malaria. Okay. Next, the disease caused by the Plasmodium falciparum. Plasmodium falciparum is malignant tertian, very, very dangerous disease. This is malignant tertian. That in all the Plasmodium species, if anyone kill the human, that this is going to kill the human being. Plasmodium falciparum is going to kill the human being. Next, malignant tertian it causes. Okay. Next, Plasmodium ovale. Plasmodium ovale. Let me erase this. Plasmodium ovale. Plasmodium ovale is causing mild tertian malaria. Mild tertian malaria. Our said erythrocytic cycle occurs in 2 days. That's why a person is going to get disease for every 3 days. Next, Plasmodium malariae or malaria usually says quartan malariae. That means here every fourth day the disease will come. Quartan malariae. Okay, so these are four Plasmodium parasites to be remembered. To remember, this is a bigger burning problem. So that's why we can expect a question from here. Now, other parasitic, protozoan parasites we are going. The second one, amoebiasis or amoebic dysentery, we can say. Entamoeba histolytica. Pathogen which cause amoebic dysentery is Entamoeba histolytica. Mode of transmission through the contaminated food and water, and our house flies and cockroaches are also going to act as a mechanical vector that for this particular parasite. Then symptoms include constipation, abdominal pain, cramps, presence of mucus and blood clots in the stool. So that is Entamoeba histolytica, which cause amoebic dysentery. Mode of transmission, contaminated food and water. Moving on to the helminth diseases, the pathogen is Ascaris lumbricoides. It causes the disease Ascariasis. Ascariasis. Mode of transmission through the soil, moist soil, water, vegetable, fruits. Simply we say contaminated food and water, which contain the eggs of parasite, mammaliated eggs of the parasite. Okay, so then symptoms, internal bleeding, muscular pain, fever, anemia, and blockage of the intestinal passage. Symptoms include here internal bleeding, muscular pain, fever, anemia, and blockage of the intestinal passage. Symptoms to be remembered. Symptoms are going to be questioned in examination. Ascaris lumbricoides is a parasite lives in the small intestine of the human being. And filariasis. Filariasis. This diagram is going to be the question for us. When recognizing this particular stage, we can recognize it as elephantiasis or filariasis. Pathogen, Wuchereria bancrofti or Wuchereria malai are going to cause this particular filariasis disease. Nematode parasite it is. Mode of transmission, female Culex mosquito, biological vector by female Culex mosquito. The symptoms include the filarial worms lives in lymph vessels, usually of lower limbs. It causes a chronic inflammation. Chronic, as I said to you earlier, chronic means prolonged. That on one day it won't come. But slowly, day by day, the lymphatic vessel blockage increases, the bulge, the lymphatic vessels, and followed by the limbs also. So it causes the chronic inflammation of the organs in which they live for many years. Deformed limbs and genital organs. You can see on the screen like this. And Eukarya bancrofti. Should remember it as Eukarya bancrofti, filaria worm. Genital organs are also going to be affected. You can see on the screen. Here it is. Left, more the light and left legs are get affected. Here, dry skin, the sweat glands are getting degenerated. That symptom you can see on the screen. Next, fungal diseases. Ringworm. The pathogens Microsporum, Trichophyton, and Epidermophyton. Fungal diseases, ringworm, that Microsporum, Trichophyton, and Epidermophyton. Mode of transmission from soil or by using that utensils like towels, clothes, comb of the particular patient, which leads to this particular disorder, the disease, appearance of the dry, scaly lesions on the various parts of the body, such as skin, nails, and scalp, and intense itching, you can see here. And very, very important that names Microsporum, Trichophyton, and Epidermophyton are called a ringworm infection they are going to cause. Okay. See that there are different kinds of ringworm infections, you can see ringworm of the scalp, and on the hand you can see. So let us go with other infectious diseases here that which are a little bit famous along with our said issues. Dysentery. Dysentery is caused by Shigella species. The contact and contaminated food and water will spread this particular dysentery. Plague. Pasteurella pestis. Rat fleas are going to transmit this plague. Diphtheria, Corynebacterium diphtheriae, contaminated food and direct contact. Cholera, Vibrio cholerae, food and water contaminated with feces, mode of transmission. Tuberculosis, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, droplets from patient or carrier. Tetanus, Clostridium tetani, the contamination of wound by bacterial spores. Whooping cough, Bordetella pertussis. Whooping cough, Bordetella pertussis. Contact and droplets. Leprosy, Mycobacterium leprae. Direct contact. Mycobacterium leprae. Direct contact. That anthrax, Bacillus anthracis. Anthrax by inhalation. That we can say anthrax is going to be the respiratory problem here. So by inhalation. Okay, so these are some diseases to be remembered here that in human health and diseases. Some viral diseases, we'll move on. Some other infectious diseases, some viruses are also playing a great role in the human, causing the diseases to the human being. Rabies, we know very well, rabies virus, that from the dogs it is going to, rabid dogs get affected with that rabies virus. It comes to the human being. Dengue, very well famous here, the dengue virus, Aedes aegypti, Aedes mosquito biting. So influenza virus, coughing and sneezing makes this particular virus to spread. Measles, rubiola virus, droplets makes the infection. German measles, rubella virus, close contact. Mumps, mumps virus, airborne droplets. Chickenpox, varicella zoster, airborne droplets. Smallpox, variola virus, direct contact. Then polio virus, feces and air. Chikungunya, chick virus, Aedes mosquito biting. Avian flu, H5N1, the contact with infected poultry and airborne spread. H1N1, swine flu, H1N1, the contact with pigs and cough, the other domestic animals is going to cause this particular disease. And showing some parasites to you, the Bacillus dysentery, Shigella species, plague, black death disease, we use it as Pasteurella pestis. Diphtheria, that a 10-year-old boy with severe diphtheria, conjunctivitis, pharyngeal membrane, bull neck, severe myocarditis. All vaccines are contraindicated. So, pathogen also you can see on the screen. Cholera, Vibrio cholerae. Mode of transmission is going to be the contamination. Tetanus, Clostridium tetani. The pathogen is Clostridium tetani. Tuberculosis, Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Major effect on lungs. Whooping cough, pertussis. We use it to say Bordetella pertussis. Whooping cough. Mycobacterium leprae, leprosy. We use it to say almost leprosy is eradicated from India. Anthrax, pathogen, Bacillus anthracis. Patient you can see on the screen along with the pathogen, Bacillus anthracis. Rabies, pathogen is going to be rabies virus, transmitted from the rabid dogs. Influenza, influenza virus. May it seems to be a resemblance with our coronavirus. Such kind, so many are there actually. Very few viruses will become successful. Corona, we can see more successful parasite, widespread all over the human being. Measles, rubiola. Person suffered with rubiola virus, measles. You can see on the screen. German measles, rubella virus. Mumps. Person pathogen is there on the screen, and mumps. That this is a symptom. You can see here the bulge, the neck region below the jaws, lower. Chickenpox, varicella zoster virus, little bit famous. Smallpox, variola virus, smallpox caused by variola virus. Polio, the pathogen polio virus. Dengue fever, breakbone fever, the dengue virus will spread by Aedes aegypti, the mosquito. That interestingly, the Aedes mosquito will grow on fresh water and it bites the human on the daytime. The symptoms, fever, rashes, back pain, eye pain, headache, muscle aches are going to be the bigger thing here in this. Chikungunya, chick virus. Here also, joint pains are going to be severe in this case. Chikungunya virus, we use it to say. Avian flu. One of the time it is famous from fowls, it spread to the human. H5N1 avian flu virus. Attack and the war between the viruses and human being is not happened today. The war is happening from the hundreds of years, thousands of years. When we started recognizing, we can say hundreds of years war is there between viruses and human being. In one particular period of time, some virus will become on headline, where virus become a headline, but after that, the next virus will come here. So that ultimately we are going to win all the time, no doubt about that. H1N1. That means I am saying Corona also become history. It also become history. H1N1, swine flu, pathogen H1N1 virus. Symptoms you see there, systemic. The systemic symptoms include fever, psychological lethargy, lack of appetite, coughing from respiratory, gastric, nausea, vomiting, intestinal diarrhea, nasopharynx, runny nose, sore throat. You can see there. So there are various diseases and their causatives we are seen, and prevention and control of these diseases. Personal hygiene, keeping the body clean and consuming the clean water and food, all that intestinal parasites we can that we can avoid them. So public hygiene, properly dispose wastes and excreta, and clean and disinfect water reservoirs, pools and cesspools and tanks, observe standard practices of hygiene in public catering, avoid contact with infected persons or their belongings to control the airborne diseases, eliminate vectors, for example, mosquitoes, Anopheles culex, in their breeding places by introducing larvivorous fishes like Gambusia or spraying pyrethromoil. Whatever, larval form should be eradicated. Control and elimination of the vectors in mosquitoes, avoid stagnant water, that stagnation of the water to be avoided. Regular cleaning of household coolers, because that was for Aedes mosquito. Aedes mosquito grow on that water. Use of mosquito nets. Introduce larvivorous fishes like Gambusia in ponds. Spraying insecticides in ditches, drainage areas, and swamps. Use wire mesh for doors and windows to prevent entry of mosquitoes. The control and elimination of the vectors, that is mosquitoes, these precautions are important to avoid vector-borne diseases like malaria, filariasis, dengue, chikungunya, where Anopheles, culex, Aedes mosquitoes are going to do that. The spread, these diseases are going to be spread through the mosquito. So the preventive measures are going to play a vital role here. Okay.